Hello, everyone, and welcome back to How I See, a Leica Podcast. Today, I am joined by Jas Leon. Jas,
Hello.
thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure being here. Truly an honor.
Absolutely. We're so excited to have you on and learn more about you and your journey as a photographer. So I think the best place for us to start is, where did this journey begin for you with photography?
The journey began as little as I can remember. I always had this fascination with capturing the world around me, whether it was drawing or I grew up in the age where it was just starting to become more technologically based. So I remember first picking up a Digicam and being like, wait, this is amazing. So I would take it everywhere with me. I would capture my neighborhood friends riding their bikes, my mom cooking, and that slowly led to me taking a class in high school. And thankfully during those years, they were still teaching darkroom printing.
Nice.
So I was introduced through it as the most traditional way, which is, film photography. And ever since then, it's just been something that I've completely obsessed about. It's consumed me in the best way possible. And now I'm here. I'm still shooting, just capturing the world and the essence of it all.
It's beautiful. Did you, as you started in high school, that darkroom experience, I feel like that's an experience that always ignites people on fire.
Yes.
I had a similar one when I was in high school too. Did you continue to study throughout college, or did you more so just continue to do it as something that you enjoyed?
I continued to do it as something I just enjoyed. I didn't go to college.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember when I was thinking about going to college, it just gave me this immense anxiety, the thought of going to school, that I decided that wasn't like the best route for me. But I still photographed because it was something that I truly just loved. And I remember early on, the first film photograph that I made was through a pinhole box. And I don't know if you're familiar with that technique, but you make a pinhole in a shoebox and you have darkroom paper in the back and you let light in for a few seconds and it basically takes a photograph onto the darkroom paper and then you go and develop it. And I remember doing that and I was like, this is like the only way to completely stop time. And that was instilled in my brain where I was like, I have to take a picture of everything. Like I have to remember everything. So it was just something that I continued to do because I truly just was like enamored by that idea of photographing.
Nice. So you started on film. A lot of your work is still shot on film.
Yes.
Did you ever convert over to film, or was it always film, or did you ever play with digital a little bit as well?
Yeah. It started with film and it continued to be film for about 5 years. And then I was like, I really wanted to get into fashion and editorial work. And at that time, film, obviously, brands, they want more digitized work. They want it, the turnaround really quick. So I was like, okay, let me get a, Canon 5D Mark II. Let's see how that goes. And as I began to photograph, I was like, this isn't it. It was like, no shade to digital photography, but for me, the colors were off, things were different. And I'm very, I want to know, once I start learning about a certain subject, I want to know everything about it. So I remember when I was shooting film early on, I already was like starting to print and like really get in the darkroom. And doing that, I was noticing the color differences between color film, and, digital photography color. And so I reverted back to film. And when I would work with brands, that was like a non-negotiable for me. I was like, you have to pay for the film fee. I only shoot with film. And ever since then, that's been like my strict policy. And it's just, I only shoot with film and it is what it is.
So especially with working with brands, how do you get your clients to trust you with shooting film? As it's something that possibly you never know what might go wrong with film. So I'm sure that that's a risk for them. Is there, when you're going through that non-negotiable, is there a little bit of a battle, or do they trust you because they know your work?
I don't think I've thankfully ever received pushback.
Wow.
I used to shoot a lot of color work in the beginning when I was doing more editorial work. I don't really do it as often anymore, but I remember in those moments them completely trusting me, and because a lot of my color work was up on my website, my Instagram, they got a taste in a sense of my style. And I would always turn around various contact sheets. So they had a lot to select from. So I never really received pushback, thankfully. I would say maybe budget-wise, just a little bit. Because, the film price point is worked into the quote that you give the client. So there was some pushback on price point, but as far as like creative direction and the trusting part, there wasn't really much pushback at the time. Yeah.
So a lot of your work now is in black and white.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit about when that shift happened, going from color to black and white?
I remember late 2020, going into 2021, I was like, you know what, like, I need to go back to my roots. I need to focus on black and white photography. I need to master it. And I need to kind of just shift my style. I was shooting, like I said, a lot of color work, but it wasn't making me feel something. And when I would shoot black and white, I always felt something, not only because it was, black and white and monochromatic, but also the aspect of being able to take it into the darkroom. But black and white darkrooms are way more accessible than color darkrooms. So for me, it was more of like a storyline there, and more of a feeling. So I said, let me focus on black and white photography. And then the more I practiced it, the more it became kind of like embodied within me, and the more it became my signature style. And now I don't really shoot color, and it's hard to shoot color because when I'm shooting, I see the world in black and white. It's a different method of shooting and seeing, and the lighting and the gradient when you're outside. And it's just, now that I'm solely shooting black and white and printing, I don't think I could go back. Who knows? That might change in the future. But for now, it's just something that I've challenged myself with, and I became just completely in love with the black and white monochromatic world.
Did you find during that shift from color to black and white that your perspective and your eye changed a little bit as well?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yes. I was a lot more, I feel like I became a little bit more poetic. I feel like I was searching for poems in like the busy streets of New York City. I feel like I was like dissecting the scene more. There was a huge shift mentally and introspectively. I feel like it's almost like a paint. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a painting when you're not only shooting in black and white, but when you're taking it into the darkroom, you're painting with light. So there was a huge mental shift there for me. Yeah.
And then also in your style and medium of photography. So you just touched on New York a little bit. And I saw that you've written before that you think of New York almost as your canvas and your muse.
Yes, yeah.
Tell me about when New York happened. When did you come here? What was the decision to come to New York?
Yeah, it's actually such a crazy story in my opinion. Okay. I was pretty young. I was, believe 20. I had just turned 22. My boyfriend, now fiance, him and I had just packed our life into one suitcase, and we didn't have a job. We didn't have an apartment. We just bought a one-way, and we're like, we'll figure it out when we get there. And so we landed in New York City. We stayed with his cousin that was living in the Bronx. We stayed with him for 2 weeks. We slept on an inflatable bed that would deflate by the morning. And, thankfully, my fiance found a job within 1 week, and I found a job within 2 weeks. And then we got approved for an apartment. And it was just like such a naive, I feel like, moment, because I remember we were apartment scouting, and they were like, we got to run your credit score. I was like, what's that? I mean, and thankfully, things worked out, and my parents didn't give me much information, but they were like, you need to learn the real way, like through life. So they were like, go, and if it doesn't work out, you can always come back. So thankfully it worked out for us. We've been here for about 8 years now. And I came to New York to pursue fashion and editorial work. And then, you know, throughout time, my perspective on that changed and my direction changed quite a lot. And I became so in love with street photography and documentary work. And that's pretty much my aim now, and my focus is to document the world now.
It's beautiful. During this time where there was such transition, you guys were really taking a leap of faith. Were you documenting throughout that as well, all those moments that you guys were going through?
I was. There's a lot of archive work, mostly in color in those first few years. And when I look back at it now, I'm like, we were babies. and it was the perfect time to do it, because I feel like at that age, like, you can mess up so much and then bounce back. Yeah. I mean, even at this age you can, but it's a little more difficult to bounce back. But there's a lot of, archive work that I'll keep to myself until I feel like it's the right moment to share. But yeah, like I said, I've always carried a camera with me, whether it was like a little point and shoot or just like a cheap digicam. It was like, it's always been glued to my hip. So yeah, there's a lot of early on work of our lives, our struggling lives the first few years.
The moments for you to look back on.
Yes.
So when you arrived in New York, when did you start to fall in love with street photography?
It was when a friend of mine was selling his Leica, his M4. Okay. And he was talking to me about it. He was really trying to sell it to just anyone, because he wanted to sell it to buy. I think it was at the time an MP. I'm not sure. He wanted to upgrade. So I was like, you know what? I've never really shot with a rangefinder, and like, this seems like a great company, a great camera. I've seen so many videos about it. Let me try it. And I knew it wouldn't at the time fit into my workflow, but I was like so eager for like a challenge. And I purchased it from him, and I remember taking it out on the street and having my first few sessions with him on the street and being like, whoa, this is like a whole different field. And not only was the perspective of shooting different, my tool was completely different. And I mean, I know we're on a Leica podcast, but like, I love my Leicas. Like, they are like an extension of my arm at this point. Like, I feel, I don't even know how to explain my love for my cameras. Like, they're literally just like such a big tool in my photography. And I feel like, and when I picked up that M4 and I started shooting the world, it was like a gift unboxing for me, and like the universe being like, this is your path now, and like, this is what you're meant to do. And I became obsessed. And yeah, I remember my first few rolls, there were a lot of blank rolls, not loading correctly or misfiring, learning how to meter correctly, which was something I wasn't used to, like on the fly. But yeah, it began in 2020 for me, and I'm still very new to the community. But it's been a journey. Yeah.
So when you go out photographing, especially with a focus on street photography, are you going out searching for a story, or are you more so letting moments come to you?
Oh, I'm definitely letting moments come to me. I feel like I'm just like such an observer, whether I'm on a street or just in the subway, or if I'm just sitting somewhere at a cafe, I'm observing people and their mannerisms, and I'm always thinking like, I wonder why they did that, or like, why did they do that? I don't know. I'm just like very observant. So I would like to think that I'm a fly on the wall. I'm not looking for a scene. I'm not really looking to create a scene either. I'm just letting life happen in front of me. And searching for fleeting moments and capturing those fleeting moments. Yeah.
I love that. No, I was always curious, because I was just curious if it was an intention, or is it something where it's like, I want to have these moments and see what's happening in daily life. And when you're capturing those moments, is there something that you're searching for within a moment that you've trained your eye to look for, or does that just continuously come naturally?
Yeah, no, I feel like in those moments, it's very crucial to work the scene. And those moments, I see it as a gift to you, to the photographer. I do believe like in street photography, and I use that term lightly because sometimes I'm like, street photography, documentary.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes it's luck. But it's up to the artist and the photographer to work the scene and bring out the emotion that you're seeking. So when I see a scene, I'm working it and I'm bringing out the essence of it. I'm looking for emotion. I'm looking for connection. I do shoot a lot of the Latin community, and that to me I hold close to my heart because I'm Latin American. And it to me is just that, like, taking that emotion and trying to capture that emotion as much as you can through your imagery. So yeah, hopefully I'm doing that. That's what I'm searching for. Yeah.
I think you are. I feel like when I look at your images, I can feel something through them, which I feel like is the most important part of photography, is conveying that emotion. You touched on connection a little bit. I wanted to ask, when doing reportage, street photography, any kind of photography, how important is it for you to connect with your subjects?
I think it depends. I feel like I read the room and I gauge whether this person wants to connect or if they want to be left alone. My goal is to be like invisible, I will say.
Yeah.
But I have been challenging myself to do more portraiture work, and that you need to connect with your subject with that. So I feel like I push myself to go. I'm not naturally like a extroverted person, so I will go out of my way to like make that connection with someone that I want to take a portrait of. But aside from that, I don't really step into their world too much. I try to be just as respectable as possible within their space, but still figure out a way to capture the moment.
Yeah. Has there been a moment during your street photography that's stuck with you, whether it be a photograph or an interaction that you've had with someone?
I would say the first photograph that I took that really like switched my mindset and like there was like a light bulb in my head was of this group of mariachi girls, and it was for Mexican Day Independence. And I remember just like the essence and how they were interacting with each other, and it was an all girls mariachi group. And I remember looking at them, and they weren't really observant of me. They knew I was photographing the scene, but they were all in their world. And I just remember the way the girl in the middle was gazing to her left, and then the girl on the far right was like gazing to her right. The composition of it, and when I clicked the shutter, it like my brain chemistry changed. I was like, oh shoot, like this is something. And I don't know if you feel this way too when you're out photographing, and because you do a lot of film work as well, when you shoot a scene and you're like, oh, I can't wait to develop it, I know this photo is going to be so good. And sometimes you're let down, and sometimes you're like right on the spot. And that photo for me, when I developed it and I looked at it, I was like, this is exactly what I had envisioned I photographed. And that was just such a turning point for me. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like obsessed. Yeah.
Just wanted to push it even further, and it was like, maybe it was like a little drop from the universe where it was like, keep going. You're on it.
Yeah. Or like you're going the right way, because I haven't, at that time, I wasn't really, that was probably like my third time on the street shooting, and really trying to learn about the street photography world. And that was, I feel like, a gift from the universe, being like, this is the direction, this is the avenue you're supposed to be on. So yeah.
I love that. But when you're going out and you're shooting, are you somebody who likes to go out on your own or with a group? What is the kind of perfect environment for you?
perfect environment would definitely be solo.
Yeah.
Because I do take a lot of breaks. Like I usually start either on the Upper East Side or Upper West Side, and then go into Central Park and sit for a bit, walk around Central Park, and then I go all the way down typically to LES. And I sit down quite a lot, and I feel really in tune when I'm by myself. If I'm with people, and I do love shooting with friends, but I feel like it's more of an outing. It's like we're having fun, we're hee-hee-hawing. Like it's just more of like connecting with other fellow photographers. So if my goal is to work, I'm going solo. If my goal is to network and like, you know, meet people and like spend time with friends, I'll go group shooting. But I can assure you, I probably will take like 1 or 2 photos for the day. But if I'm working, definitely solo, with some relaxing music. I have this like anxiety-free remix playlist on my Spotify, which like
I'm gonna need that.
Or like I play like just jazz music sometimes, and like it just feels amazing when you have like instrumental music playing, and I'm like, I'm in the movie scene. But yeah, solo.
Nice. Main character energy.
Main character energy.
I like it.
Yeah.
So you said you kind of take breaks throughout too. I guess a question that I have for you is, do you like to be active while you're shooting, or do you find that when you're on those breaks, sometimes the scenes just come to you?
Yeah, I mean, it has happened before, and I remember at one point, I think this was in Central Park, I was sitting and there was an altercation happening. And I was like, and I had totally like chilled out. I was like really relaxed. Like I had my camera here, like my photo bag, and I was just chilling. And then I remember being a little bit upset with myself because I wasn't ready, because I had taken a break and I was like not ready enough to capture the moment. And then also like afterwards, I noticed that people were looking at me because I looked frantic, because I was like trying to grab everything and like shoot the scene. It's happened before, but now I'm like, I'm taking a break. It is what it is. Like if I missed a scene, I missed the scene. It's fine. Like there's other adventures, there's other scenes that will come to me, and it is what it is.
We've been talking a lot about film. I know you've built your own darkroom.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what inspired you to create that own space for yourself, and what kind of inspired you to have your own space to create these images?
Yeah, I was spending a lot of money going to a darkroom in Gowanus. And I live in Queens, so it's a pretty long commute. And I realized, and I also was only doing like 2-hour sessions, because at the time I'm like, it's just like out of my budget. And I was like, let me save money, invest in my own darkroom, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it helps me, then amazing. So I ended up saving money and being like, okay, you know, I think this is like the next investment for me. I truly think it will change my direction. It will make my love for film photography even deeper. I would be able to create my own ritual. And so I ended up turning my dining room in my apartment. And thankfully, like I have enough space. It's a pre-war building. My landlord does not know though. So that security deposit might not come back to me. But I turned my dining room into my own little dark room. And it was such a process. I hired a contractor because there was 2 openings. I hired someone to close those off and add sliding doors. I blacked out the room. I got all my equipment from Facebook Marketplace. Nice. And then slowly but surely, I started, you know, testing out like what I needed, what I didn't need, what was working, what wasn't working. It's a dry dark room, so I don't have a running sink, and I have to print and take everything to my restroom and then like wash it there. But it's been such a game changer for me and my work. The first thing I did was reprint all of my archive work and take a second look of what I had. When you scan, especially like in particular for me, I don't have the most expensive scanner. It gets the job done, but that means you're losing resolution when you're using a cheap scanner. And when I started printing, I realized like, wait, the quality is there. Like the grain isn't as bad. Like there is sharpness. So I started reprinting a lot of my archive work and reworking it. And a lot of images that were throwaways to me at the time, I had reworked and have become one of the few images that I'm like holding close to my heart. So I feel like creating a darkroom in my apartment, which was the best investment I could have made for myself as an artist and photographer.
And were you always doing darkroom developing and printing, or were you ever using like a service where they would do the development and scanning, or was that never kind of an option for you?
No, I was. I still don't develop my own film. Okay. I go to LTI. Okay. It's on 30th and I want to say Park Ave. And it's they've been around for years. They're amazing, and they're family owned. So I much rather, it cuts down my time too. Yeah. So I much rather support them and drop that off. And they do 1-day turnarounds. Nice. If you're just developing. But I was always printing, whether it was like color work or black and white. It was inconsistent, but it was always like part of my life. As far as developing, I still don't develop, like I mentioned, on my own. But no, it was always in my life, just not as consistent as it is now.
When you're printing your own work in the darkroom, do you feel more connected to the images that you've made?
Yes, 1,000%. Like I said, I feel like darkroom is like painting with light, and you're able to really, I don't want to alter the image too much. I want it to be as true to what it was in the moment. But for me, it's like a ritualistic thing too. It's like you make your contact sheet, you pick the image, and then you start loading your negative onto the negative carrier. You do test prints. And then once you start seeing like, okay, I need to burn a little bit here, dodge the subject just a little bit. And I've started to get a little bit creative with like my tools, using like netting to kind of like dodge, or I started using glass and like a expo marker kind of to like draw over the glass and like put it above the image and then, print that way. And it really opens up your eyes and you start to feel more of an artist rather than a photographer. But yeah, you can bring out a lot more of an image when you're printing, especially if you're overexposing or if you overexpose by accident. Oh, you could definitely save that in the darkroom. You could save the image in the darkroom. If you're scanning it, it's going to be difficult. Yeah. But in the darkroom, you can definitely save an image.
Do you have any advice for anyone who wants to start printing their work in a darkroom?
Do it. Just do it. I don't even think, think about the money, but like, don't think about it. I think like it's also helped me mentally, like my mental health. Pick a darkroom that you really resonate with. The layout is everything, in my opinion. And just start, and you'll see the change within yourself as you'll feel like you're becoming more of an artist. And I feel like personally that's my goal. Like obviously, I'm a photographer, but I feel more of an artist now that I'm darkroom printing. So I would say just do it. Don't overthink it. Do it. And if black and white printing isn't for you, try color. But don't let the darkroom industry die. So do it. Yeah.
I'd also love to go into, as someone who also has a full-time job.
Yeah.
How do you find the balance of managing that and then also finding time and passion for your photography as well?
Yeah, it's tough. I have a full-time job. I work in fashion as well, in production. And for me, I'm glad that I've figured out a good schedule. But even now, it's just sometimes it's a little bit draining when, you have to be at work from 9 to 5, and then you get home and you're so tired and you just want to rest. But I think as like a photographer, I truly feel like this is my calling.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a disservice to myself not doing the work that I'm supposed to be doing. So even if I'm tired, if I'm not, in the mood to shoot or in the mood to print, I do remind myself like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing in my lifetime. So get to it, girl. Yeah. But it all in all, it's about time management and prioritizing what's what you need to work on and what is important to you. You just gotta manage your time. It's draining, but also, living in New York City, it's hard to like just do photography and get paid doing photography and then pay your bills. Yeah. So you make it work. Somehow you'll always make it work if you really want it to.
Do you have any advice for our listeners who find themselves in the same position too?
Yeah, I feel like for myself, I need to remind myself that working a 9 to 5, I mean, and thankfully I do love my job. Yeah. Working a 9 to 5 is just a way of you investing into your craft. I've been signed to an agency before, and they dictate so much creative output. Like they dictate a lot of your creative perspective, and like you really don't have much say in some things. So when you work a 9 to 5 and you're a solo artist, you are able to invest in yourself in the way that you feel like is important to you. And I don't think anyone should be ashamed of working a 9 to 5, but it is, think about it in a positive way where you're using that financial stability to invest into your photography. And if you keep pushing at it, if you keep working at it, only good things will come from that.
I love that. Has there been a project that you've been most proud of or most excited by during your time as a photographer?
I'm currently working on a project now, and it is lighting such a huge flame within me, and it's my first project, actually. Prior to this, I haven't really worked on many projects. I've just been kind of consumed with photographing everything around me that even now I'm like looking at some of my work, I'm like, oh, there's certain like links here, like, I can group these photos together, this can become a project, this can become a project. But now that I'm actually working on my little baby project, now I'm like, no, this is my first one. This is like an infant. And I have to nurture it, and I have to keep going back and documenting and just let that project snowball. But this is the first project that I've been working on. So when I have more experience, I'll come back to you and let you know how that's going.
I'm excited to hear about it. How did you identify that this was the right project for you?
For me, it's close to home, and it's highlighting a culture that is very close to me. I'm Guatemalan American, and I'm capturing Guatemalans in their native lands. And I went back last year, hit 17 cities.
Wow.
And my guide, shout out to Freddie, he was amazing. And it's just, before I started the project, I had pitched it and everyone was on board. Everyone was like, yeah, this is exactly what you're meant to do. And once I landed in the city, I was like, this feels right. So like when you think about an idea and you feel a spark inside, like you have to go for it. I'm not trying to say too much of the project.
Yeah, keep it.
Yeah, but yeah, you just know within yourself that this is like the right decision.
What have you learned about yourself through photography?
Oof, that's a good question. I've learned to be more sympathetic to the human condition. like I think my empathy is, I'm a little sensitive now to like, you know, I like I said, I observe a lot, and being a West Coast girl, moving to the East Coast, specifically in New York City, I wasn't accustomed to the way of life. Thankfully, you know, I am now, and just to be able to see the diasporas here, it has changed my perspective and my view on just humans in general. And I think now, like when I'm shooting, I'm truly looking at like reflections, like photographic reflections. Yeah. And it's almost like my therapy. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm shooting this because I feel this type of way, or like maybe, you know, there's some trauma there, and now I can't stop photographing this, and yeah. So I feel like it's made me a lot more connected with the human condition.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I think that's an incredible segue for us now to start and take a look through your lens, and we'll go into this segment called Unframed. Awesome. And we'll pull up a few images for us to look at here. Before we go into the image, I would just love to help describe it a little bit for our listeners who are on audio only. So to describe the frame to those who are just listening via audio, we're looking at a beautiful black and white image here, with this really gorgeous landscape in the background, a lot of layering being used through the foreground to the midground and the background. And in the foreground and the left-hand third of the frame, we see a gentleman here looking down. I'm not entirely sure what he's holding, but I'm sure Jas will be able to explain a little bit more. And then looking into still the left-hand third, but beautifully framed by the gentleman in the foreground, is two more people in the back. Jas, can you walk us through this image, the moment, and what your process was in capturing it?
Yeah. This image was photographed in EGJ, Guatemala. My guide, Freddie, he was taking me to Lake Atitlan. And halfway there, he was like, I think you really need to actually visit the ruins. It's halfway there, and you should really see, the rituals that go on there. So this image is of, you see the couple in the back, and then the man, the main subject. They're both doing their own rituals. They're shamans. In Central America, we are very spiritual. We're spiritual beings. We believe in, Mother Earth and using what she gave you and energy and the vibes. Yeah. And so there, it's actually an old Mayan ruin. And now it's used primarily for rituals. The shamans come together. The couple in the back, I was able to have a conversation with them. They were actually having a ritual to heal their son. He was going through a health condition. And they were there together. There's bonfires that they burn certain colored candles for certain rituals. So they were burning white candles. And then the main subject, the shaman, which he did not want to share his name with me, very, very, very lovely man. But he is the type of shaman that he doesn't, how would I say this? He basically will do anything you ask him to, any ritual of any sorts. But he was explaining to me that he was born into this way of life. His parents were shamans, and he became a shaman. And he's holding a stick. He uses it as a guiding stick. And this was right after he took a few swigs of alcohol and was spitting it into the fire. He was starting to commence his ritual. And, he is the type of shaman that if you need, more energy or something in your life, you go to him and he will do the ritual for you. But it's such a sacred space and such a sacred ruin that I just remember feeling the energetic pull. And he was just explaining to me that, you have to be grateful for Mother Earth and what she offers you and what she gives to you. And in return, we have to be respectful of the land and always be grateful for, living and breathing. It was something that my family, they've always talked about these shamans in Guatemala, and to see it in person and to experience a ritual and to see them at work was truly breathtaking. This is one of many photographs I took of them, but I think this one I hold a little bit close to my heart because I was able to capture him and the couple behind, and they were doing two different completely rituals, but sharing the same space.
It's an absolutely stunning image. For anyone who is listening on audio, we definitely invite you to go and view the video portion where you'll be able to see this. And now we're going to go into the next image here. And to describe for our listeners on audio here, another black and white image, a jazz styling here. And the frame shows people dancing. In the midground here, we see a dress swaying from one dancer. And then as we start to inch into the upper left third, we see another dress swaying. And we also see a person standing statically in another dress. And in the upper right third, we see a gentleman sitting on a bench. Jas, please walk us through this moment.
So this is actually one of the photographs that I have mentioned that I reworked in the darkroom prior to printing this photo. Scanning it was really difficult. I wasn't able to really get the tonalities correct. And then I took it in, once my darkroom was functional, I took it into my darkroom and worked with it. And I was like, wow, I did not know there was contrast here. I didn't know, there were the highlights. And so this image, this day I actually had taken a workshop from David Gibson himself. And each hour he was giving us a challenge. And this hour in particular, he challenged us to use a slow shutter speed, which I really haven't done before. And he said, use 1/8 of a second or anything lower, but play around, see what you guys get. And I was the only one shooting in film, so I couldn't show him right away. Yeah. But I remember walking around and walking into this parade, and I saw these two women spinning. They had beautiful colorful dresses, and of course you can't see it because I shot it in black and white. But they were just spinning to the music and like enthralled in their energy, and it was just so freeing to watch them be free. And I was like, oh, wait, this is perfect for the challenge. Yeah. So I dropped my shutter speed to 1/8 of a second. And I clicked 2 times because it was my last two frames on the roll. And then being like, hopefully I got it. Hopefully it's, and I remember developing, the image and seeing it, scanning it and being like, this is great. But once I took it into the darkroom, that's when I was like, okay, I actually really like this image, and I'm very thankful for David pushing us to try new methods.
Though I wish I could see the colors of their dresses.
Yeah, I know.
I actually think the black and white almost makes it more powerful, because you were talking about earlier how when you're shooting in black and white, you feel almost a sense of poetry. Yeah. And this feels like a poetic moment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Of course. And then we'll go into this next and final image here for us to look at here. In this image, again, black and white from Jas's signature style, we have a group of women sitting throughout the frame. 3 of them are sitting towards the middle and the right third of the frame on a staircase. And there's also another one in the upper right-hand corner that I'm noticing now. And then on the left third of the frame here, we have another woman who's looking off to the right side of the frame and looking away from the rest of the group. What was happening in this moment?
So this is actually the photograph I spoke about earlier in our conversation. This is the image that my brain chemistry changed. I was like, this I can is see like, why. Yeah. I remember I was, I had just gotten coffee with a friend and I was making my way home, new to the photography world, street photography world, and I remember I was walking, looking for the R train, or it might have been the F, I can't remember. And I heard music that I knew way too well. And I was like, wait, this is a song my mom played when growing up, like when she cleans the house. I was like, who's bumping this music? Yeah. So I was following the music, and then I realized there's a parade happening. And here in New York, the parades usually are on Fifth Ave for the most part. And before they get on the main street, there's side streets that are blocked off. And in those side streets are the performers waiting to be led onto the main street. And this group of mariachi women were waiting for their turn. And it's also really funny because you see, I mean, I was able to burn a portion of the background, but there's a gentleman in the back also on his phone, and the two women in the front are on their phone as well. So it kind of gives like an essence of like the new era of phones and kids, but also just like the expression of the woman in the middle and the composition of the woman on the right gazing to her right, and like the arm on her belly, which is to me signifies such a strong posture. And if you know anything about mariachi music, it is like such a prideful ambiance of sound. Like it's you sing from like the depths of your stomach, and it's more Mexican music. And just the way that she was standing, the way that the girl was gazing to her left at the time when I was looking at her, it was my right. I just remember before clicking, I was like, this is the one. And I instantly fell in love. And I clicked and quickly took it to get developed, scanned it, loved it. But I really didn't feel the connection until I printed it. And I was able to work with the lighting. And I was able to burn the background a little bit and just work with the tones. But yeah,
it's a beautiful image. And the one portion that you were touching on while I was looking at it that I found so interesting was the older generation off their phones, and then that younger generation both attached their phones. And just the difference in emotion between each person. It's a gorgeous image. I can understand the brain chemistry changing.
I remember I was like, I love this. Like, I need to keep doing this. And like, I felt like the addiction. I was like, I need more moments like this. I wish I could find them and give them the photo. Yeah. So hopefully one day
the universe will draw you back to them.
Yes.
And then I think this is a great segue. After looking at these images, I was curious to hear, when you're in search of creativity, where do you turn for inspiration?
At the moment, I feel like I'm not the most knowledgeable photographer out there, and it's something I'm actively working on. Like, I know what I like, and I know my style, and I know, like, you know, the technicalities of photographing. But I'm going out of my way to learn about the greats and really learn the history. So for me right now, photo books are a huge source of inspiration. Noir films as well. And I would say just being outside is inspiring. Just being outside and capturing the world to me is inspiring. But I think before anything else, it is really crucial and important that you do study the work of the greats. And the best way to do that is through photo books.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
What role has mentorship played in your journey as a photographer?
Oh, I'm still looking for a mentor.
If anyone's out there.
If anyone wants to be my mentor, please. I have friends that have mentors, and they share their chemistry and like their experience with me, and I'm like, that's so amazing. Like I'm looking for a mentor. I don't think I'm ready to have a mentee. I don't think I'm there yet. But it's kind of, aside from like having friends guide me, it's kind of been of like a little bit of a lonely road. But I really wouldn't have had it any other way, I feel like. But I am at the point where, you know, like I said, I'm not too knowledgeable with the industry and like all it entails within this subculture. So it would be nice to have someone guiding me, you know, into the right direction and giving like really honest and truthful advice. So yeah, I'm still looking for a mentor.
Well, Anybody who would like to mentor Jas, please reach
let
out.
me know.
Well, first I'd like to say, I know you were talking about how you were in fashion and editorial photography to start, but I wanted to ask, what are some other mediums in photography that you'd like to explore outside of the reportage, if any?
Yeah, I actually really, really want to start using kind of like multimedia. So I want to start maybe like silver plate printing. I think yeah. And I want to start using, I actually am really interested in linol printing and how that can go hand in hand with a photograph. Yeah, I think my aim for the next few years is how can I mix my images with something tangible, kind of making it a little bit more dimensional and more into like the multimedia avenue, but who knows? We'll see how it goes.
I'm excited to see how it goes. Now we're going to run into the quick fire segment that I brought up to you earlier. Okay. What is your favorite film stock?
Oh, Tri-X 400.
Perfect. If your camera could talk about you, what would it say?
Stop overthinking.
What is your favorite place to shoot?
That's a hard one. I'm just going to say the city because I love Manhattan, shooting in the city. So I'm just going to say the city.
Okay, I like it. If you could go on a photo walk with anyone, who would it be?
My queen, Mary Ellen Mark, but she has transitioned. She's passed. So if it were anyone, it would be her. Living, I think Sage Sawyer. She's still alive, right? Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not sure. Okay. I'm gonna have to check out her work.
I think Sage Sawyer.
Sage Sawyer. Okay, and then as we're starting to get to the end of our segment here, there's a question I like to ask each of our guests. If you could say anything to your younger self at any age, what would you say?
I would say to myself to not give up. I would say you are close to giving up and not doing photography, and don't listen to that voice in your head. Just keep going and you'll figure it out. So don't give up.
And then I'd love to give you this last opportunity to shout out any creatives that you'd like to highlight that our audience should know about and go check out their work.
First, my homegirl, Lex Kim. She's a black and white darkroom printer artist. Amazing work. She's working on a project in her home state, Ohio. So check her out, Lex Kim. Sabrina Santiago. Beautiful color work. Amazing photographer. And my last one, Nat Sehebre, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, Colombian American artist. She is also a fellow darkroom printer, color darkroom printer, and she makes incredible content on her social, and her content reminds me a lot of like PBS Kids, like very like knowledgeable and just amazing work. Those would be my top 3 right now to look out for. They're amazing, and they definitely deserve to be highlighted.
Amazing. We'll link all of their info in our description here for anyone to go and check out and see their work. But Jas, thank you so much for joining me today and having this conversation and sharing your story and how it is that you became the photographer that you are today.
Thank you, Jack, for having me. I feel so honored, and I'm really grateful to have this chat with you.
As am I. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay.